I broke out in tears. I literally had a panic attack because I lost a friend.
This is an attack on humanity itself.
Love will win out. Love always wins out.
Celebrities and loved ones united in grief. Hello and welcome to Inside the Americas, a special programme this week dedicated to the terrorist attack on a gay nightclub that left 49 people dead in Orlando, Florida, the deadliest mass shooting the US has seen. Most of the victims have now been identified. Investigators are combing through the evidence to establish a motive and possible links, if any, between the shooter and terror networks. That shooter, 29-year-old Omar Mateen, was born and raised in the US. He was on the FBI's radar, but despite that, he was still able to legally obtain the semi-automatic weapon used in the attack. The agency's director promises a full investigation to see what it might have missed, as Yuka Roya explains.
Could Orlando nightclub shooter Omar Mateen have been gay? Recent days have revealed he was more than familiar with the venue. In fact, regulars say that he'd been going to Pulse almost weekly for 3 years.
And even my partner said that he seemed like a very nice, comfortable. He loved where he was at. He was drinking with another guy at one time. He was actually standing with another guy when we were performing. I mean, a lot of it don't make sense.
The ongoing investigation has shown Mateen visited the nightclub several times in the days before his attack. Given that he was a familiar face, no one had any reason to suspect a thing. Mateen had also remarried. His wife told the FBI she'd driven him to Pulse in the past. They were looking into any potential connection she may have had with the attack after they discovered he'd been using a gay dating application.
When he was first contacting me, he was saying, asking what club, in his words, what clubs are popping and things of that sort and what good places are to go. But it was over 3 months ago. It's the last time I spoke to him.
This, as other witnesses come forward indicating Mateen may have shown homosexual tendencies from the beginning of the last decade during his time at university.
Well, it didn't take long for politicians on both sides of the presidential campaign to weigh in on Sunday morning's events. Candidates Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton were quick to speak out, the Republican hopeful emphasising Islamic terrorism, the Democrat gun control. Kate Moody explains.
A nation in mourning, looking for answers. How to avoid another massacre like the one in Orlando's Pulse nightclub. The two candidates vying to become the next president were quick to weigh in, offering condolences to the victims and their families before turning to policy. Donald Trump focused on the shooter's Afghan origin, accepting congratulations for earlier warnings about what he described as radical Islamic terrorism.
If we want to protect the quality of life for all Americans, women and children, gay and straight, Jews and Christians, and all people, then we need to tell the truth about radical Islam, and we need to do it now. When I'm elected, I will suspend immigration from areas of the world where there is a proven history of terrorism against the United States, Europe, or our allies.
It was an echo of his controversial call for a total ban on Muslim immigrants, which he first proposed after the San Bernardino attack in December. At the time, Trump sparked outrage, but also saw a spike in his popularity ratings. Hillary Clinton also reacted first on social media, but highlighted the need for stricter gun control laws to keep weapons out of the hands of terrorists and criminals.
We may have our disagreements about gun safety regulations, but we should all be able to agree on a few essential things. If the FBI is watching you for suspected terrorist links, you shouldn't be able to just go buy a gun with no questions asked.
Fighting terrorism and cracking down on guns. Two thorny issues that, while not mutually exclusive, are not always tackled together, but which are surging to the top of the agenda on the campaign trail. With just under 5 months to go until the general election, the candidates' reactions to the Orlando attack could prove crucial, staking out their opposing positions while balancing the sensitivity and leadership needed to deal with a national tragedy.
Well, as you heard in that report, gun control has now become one of the top campaign issues. Trump has renewed his proposal of a ban on Muslims entering the US. Clinton, meanwhile, is treading the line between calls for action and aiming to please gun-owning Americans. Our correspondent Shona Bhattacharya is in Florida and went to find out for herself just how easy it is to get hold of a gun.
The shooting at Pulse Nightclub began in a store like this one. Our team wanted to find out how to buy a weapon in the state of Florida.
Hi.
Hi.
I was hoping to buy a gun.
Okay. First thing I would need to do is get a picture ID from you.
Okay.
We show a driver's license, fill out a form, wait for the green light from state authorities, and 3 days later, the pistol is ours. Restrictions apply, but for U.S. citizens and permanent residents, obtaining a pistol is relatively simple in Florida. Shop owner Todd Short says he sees a spike in clients after events.
Protection, usually mass shootings, and then a president talking about gun reform and gun control, and people thinking now they won't have access for protection for their family. It's every time he speaks on gun reform and gun control, gun sales go up every time.
This is the kind of gun used most often in mass shootings, an AR-15 semi-automatic. It's not an assault rifle, but gun control advocates like Jack McConnell say it's far too lethal.
That intelligent people should recognize these things for what they are and ban the whole lot of them, you know. They're military-grade weapons, essentially, is what they are. And no man needs to defend his house with a weapon that, you know, if he thinks he's going to be attacked by an army, you know, then probably he should seek professional help.
Past legislative reform efforts have failed, and there are now more guns than people in the United States. Mass shootings take place almost daily. We asked people on the street if they were in favor of greater gun control.
Oh, man, that's really, wait, let me think about that for a second. I mean, I'm for, you know, our right to bear arms, but when it comes to lunatics...
I would like stricter gun control, but not taking away guns in general.
I'm a gun owner. I hunt and I shoot, and I strongly favor stronger gun control laws. And since I don't need an automatic weapon, I'm willing to submit to a background check. I'm willing not to be able to buy a gun without those restrictions at a gun show or at a private sale, which is how people are allowed to buy those guns here presently.
Many believe the issue will have to be addressed eventually. The question is, how many more deaths will it take to put an end to what's being called an epidemic?
Now, it may be the country of Harvey Milk and Ellen DeGeneres, but the US has not always been an easy place for the gay community. Luke Schrago takes a look back now at the history of the country's LGBT rights movement.
In the heart of New York's Greenwich Village, a historic bar is in mourning. The Stonewall Inn is more than just a symbol, it was the very origin of gay activism. It was June 28, 1969, when patrons of the gay bar reacted over a violent police raid.
And a high heel does not break a window, it was a rock. And we don't know who's the first one to throw it. They say a drag queen, so it's this, we don't know.
After Stonewall, the United States gay community demanded the same rights as all other citizens. Their protests went on for months, but a year later had gained traction, leading to the city's first ever Gay Pride Parade. It made New York an open and tolerant oasis for homosexuals across the country. Over the next 20 years, other major cities would follow suit. San Francisco has an entire district synonymous with gay culture. Castro, where gay people had gathered since the 1950s, and where Harvey Milk opened a photography shop in 1975. The famed politician was the nation's first openly gay man elected to office, and his story would later inspire a biopic starring Sean Penn in the titular role. He won an Oscar for his portrayal of the character.
Our new campaign manager.
You all scared of girls?
Ah!
Milk was assassinated alongside the city mayor by a rival in 1978. It was just the first blow of many that would later fall during the 1980s and the outbreak of the AIDS epidemic. The virus itself was yet to be identified and initially blamed on gay men. That led directly to the founding of action and advocacy group ACT UP in 1987. The US gay community has won many battles over the years, but this week has seen its members in the streets once more. Before an act of terror for them, the Orlando massacre was an expression of homophobia, similar to the 1973 shooting at a gay bar in New Orleans that left 32 people dead.
Well, that's it for this special edition of Inside the Americas. We're going to play you out with some images of solidarity with Orlando from all around the world. Thanks for watching, and see you next week for all the news from north to south.